special place in the heart of the Queen. Legend had it that he had once laid his cloak over a mud puddle so that Elizabeth would not have to dirty her royal feet. But it was his charms with the ladies that also got him in trouble with Her Majesty when he married one of her maids of honor, the lovely and much younger Bess Throckmorton, without the Queen's permission. The Queen had him thrown into the Tower of London, but she eventually relented when she realized that the couple truly were in love. Her Majesty's court was notorious for its intrigues and plots, with the various courtiers vying against one another for the position as her favorite. Lord Essex, Robert Devereux, a descendant of King Henry VIII, had been one of Raleigh's chief rivals. Devereux was a hero to the masses for his military successes against the Spanish, and also a favorite of the Queen. However, he saw himself as deserving of the throne, and was accused, with reason, of conspiring against her with King James VI of Scotland. Tried by Coke, Devereux was convicted and executed in February 1601. It was this execution that also would cast Raleigh in a bad light with the public. Although he had nothing to do with the trial, he held the title of Sheriff of London, which meant that he had the duty of presiding over the execution. The public saw this as a devious way to remove a rival, and he was reviled for it. In 1603, Raleigh's fortunes took a definitive turn for the worse when the Queen died. Soon thereafter, none other than King James ascended to the throne, and not long after that, Raleigh was himself arrested for treason, accused of plotting with his friend Lord Cobham and with Spain against James. When the trial began that morning, Coke was faced with a dilemma. He had very little evidence, only an unsigned letter supposedly written by Cobham that accused Raleigh of being part of the conspiracy. On the other hand, the commissions of Oyer and Terminer were not known for their objectivity. The judges were selected from officers of the state, nobles and judges appointed by the king and his counselors, all with a stake in the survival of the current political structure, and therefore antagonistic toward anyone who might be a threat to the king or their positions. There was no attempted impartiality for Raleigh's trial. The commissioners, or judges, included Secretary of State Sir Robert Cecil, Sir William Waad, who was Raleigh's jailer, the Earls of Suffolk and Devonshire, Lord Wotton, Lord Henry Howard, and Sir John Stanhope, many of whom disliked Raleigh and had envied his status with Elizabeth, or held him partly responsible for Essex's death. They sat with the Chief Justice of the King's Bench, Sir John Popham, who hated Raleigh, as well as the Chief Justice of the Court of Common Pleas, Sir Edmund Anderson, and Justices Gaudy and Warburton. The jury was hand-picked in advance. Comprised of 4 knights, 4 esquires, and 4 gentlemen, this deck of king's men, too, was stacked against the accused. Yet when offered the chance to challenge the seating of any juror, Raleigh shook his head. "I know none of them, but think them all honest and Christian men. I know my own innocency, and therefore will challenge none." Coke opened the trial by pointing to Raleigh and sneering, "I will prove you the notorious traitor that ever came to the bar." "Your words cannot condemn me," Raleigh responded easily. "My innocency is my defense. Prove one of these things wherewith you have charged me, and I will confess to the whole indictment, and that I am the horriblest traitor that ever lived, and worthy to be crucified with 1,000 torments." "Nay, I will prove all," Coke promised, and introduced the unsigned statement of Cobham, implicating him in treason. When he got the chance, Raleigh pleaded to be allowed to answer the charges by calling the only witness against him, Cobham, to the stand. "My lords, let my accuser come face to face and be deposed." Raleigh knew that if he could get Cobham on the witness stand, he might have a fighting chance. While he was in the Tower of London, a letter wrapped around an apple was thrown through the window. It was signed by Cobham.